At this point, we have a GUI. We've added in events to have some buttons popping up. And we've even gotten so far as being to put validation over the top of this. So before we completely wrap up, let me show you one other type of validation that's going inside of here. I'm going to add another label in here real quick. And this will just be some random number. We'll just say age inside of here. And then we will add in another text box. Drop this guy inside of here. Again, we'll make this empty to start with. And then we'll have to, as you can see, we'll make it empty. Drag it out a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. And then we'll change the variable name to be age input at this point. All right, so we have the age. I'm back to our submit button here. And now we want to get an age field. So we'll start again with a string, which is the text age. And we can go to age input, control space, finishes that text for me. .get text, control space, finishes that for me. All right, and we want to say again the age is going to be required, but it also has to be a number. So we'll do all of this at once with a try and a catch. So we'll say int age is equal to, we'll say it's supposed to be an integer. It could also be a double, but it's an integer is what we're going to start with. Parse int. So that takes string and turns it into an integer. And if it's not an integer, it'll throw an exception. So we'll take that, we'll say text age, control space. Again, text age shows up there. And so if this fails, it will throw an exception, and so we'll catch any random exception that comes along. Control space, exception E. So if anything goes wrong with this, we're going to catch that exception at this point. So I get the text, I turn the text into a number, and if it fails, then all data received is equal to false. And also we want to do a pop-up. Control C copies, Control V pastes inside of there. And so age must be a integer inside of there. Okay, so really easy start of this to be able to add in a number. It's building upon the same foundation we had before. We still have the all data received we had built before. We can just add in another field. So as you're doing your GUI, maybe you did all the fields at once. Maybe you're adding them as you go. Either way works fine. You can either build a couple fields all the way through and validate them and then add on to it, or you can build the whole form and add in validation a piece at a time. The way we've constructed the logic, it allows you to do it pretty easily. So let's go through and run this logic real quick so we can see it. So if I hit submit, I must provide a name, I must provide a last name, age must be an integer. All of them need to be done. I can say test, and I can put in test for here too. Age must be an integer. Okay, what if I put in 4? It works. I pressed a button test. Now, is 4 a reasonable age for the application? That's up to you. If it's not, what I can do is say if age is less than, let's say, 13. So I'm required to be 13. Then I can say, copy these two down. Oops, excuse me. Copy these two. Paste these two. Add in the separate rule that must be. Age must be above 13. And then that will fail as well. Again, all logic can be put inside of here. All rules can be put inside of here. We can realize any of these rules we need to by just adding some more if statements and code and other elements inside of there. So let me go ahead and run this, and just so I can show you this guy in action. So I bring the display over here. I accidentally resized this. That's my fault inside of there. Put some text inside of there. Age is 4 again. Age must be above 13. Well, what if I make it 13? Okay, it's all right. It's saying it's less than 13. If I make it 12, oops. Age must be above 13. If I make it minus 4, age must be above 13. I'm handling all those cases inside there. If I make it really, really, really big, that's fine. I guess apparently I can have an age of 10,000. If I want to limit the age to be less than a number, I just say if age is less than or greater than some other number, and I can add as many cases as I want inside of there. If I wanted to pop up another rule, I can have it pop up another rule. So you can see, it doesn't matter how many fields I have, I can build out, I can add more to this. One of the things I want to point out here, it's going to be asked for at the end. I probably want to do something more than just individual fields here. So what you want to do to get yourself set up for future weeks is I want to add in a new Java class. And in my case, I'm just going to call it the person class. You're going to be building something specific to the assignment you're given. But I'm going to build this person class for my case. And so my person class reflects the types of things I want to collect about the screen that's on there. In this case, I'm getting data about a person. So I have a string, which is the first name. I have a string, which is the last name, and an integer, or just an int is fine, which is the age. Okay, so for this, I'm going to right click. I'm going to say insert code, or I can hit alt insert. I can generate getters and setters for this on all of these all at once, and poof, I have all that stuff inside of here. I'm going to go further than this. I'm going to right click, insert code, and say generate a toString method for all these features. And that's going to automatically print this guy out for me. And so what I want to do is I want to create an object in which I can hold the results of everything that happened on my screen. So now, as I go through and I get each one of these fields, what I can do is, if it's valid, and this is just one way of doing it, I could do it all at the end just the same. If it's valid, I could add it in inside of here. So I can say, let me come up top and say person P is equal to new person. That's the object I just created. So p.set first name is equal to the name that I just created right there. Else p.set last name is equal to the last name I just created right there. And inside of here, I can say else right here, because it's only valid if I didn't get an exception and it's over 13. P.set age is equal to the age I got right here. And now down at the bottom, instead of printing out the name, I can say I want to print out person dot toString. So just a little bit. We're going to use this object in future. Nope, I'm sorry, not person. Let's just do P. And actually, I think in this case, I don't even have to do the toString. I think I just do P. Yeah, I can. So it'll print this out. So what I'm doing here is, as I get through here, I've got a person object. And as I'm validating each of these fields, I'm filling my person object with results. And when I get all the way to the bottom, if everything is validated, then I have a full valid person object that can go and run. So now if I run my code one more time, my first name is Tony. Oops. Last name is Lowe. My age is 29. Not really. Submit. And you can see my toString method is giving me just a feel for what this stuff has been filled. So first name Tony, last name Lowe, age is 29. Now this again comes up to the question of how much do I want to clean up this data along the way. So I could go through, and when I run my code, I could come through and I could say my first name is space Tony space. My last name is tab. Oops, I can't do tab here. There, and my age is 545. So you can see all of a sudden I'm storing all this extra white space junk inside of there. If I don't want that, again, it's up to you to write the code. You can fix it however you want to. I don't necessarily have to fix the user's results that's going on inside of here. I can go through and say first name is equal to name.trim. And just go ahead and trim this out. I can say last name is equal to last name dot trim. And so now I'm in control. I can do whatever logic I want to on sort of here. So when I go through and I just put in space Tony, all of a sudden you can see it's cleaning it out in the object I'm saving. It doesn't clean out the display, but guess what? I could even do that if I wanted to. I can go through and I can say first name input.setText is equal to name.trim inside of there. I could go and clean that up and have that display reflect what I want it to display. So now if I'll just do it for this one, just an example inside of there. So I do space. You can see it fixes the screen at the same time. You have full control of your GUI. You have full control of the validation. You can do anything you want to inside of here. And so thus later on, as you hit the submit button, the save button, whatever, you can actually clear out the display to allow the user to type in the next one. You can manipulate the GUI in any way you see fit, including adding in details and everything along to the user's behavior. All right, so that is fundamentally what we're looking at doing this week is building an application, building a user interface, getting screen elements, putting validation over the top of that, and then being able to input and see these things into an object. So take a shot at that, ask any questions, bring your questions to email or bring it to a live chat. We can help you actually code this to yourself. You get it done on your screen. Set up screen sharing and you can code your solution in front of us, or look to be able to just email in questions and I can answer those in future chats.